Glasgow gangster James White was considered extremely dangerous and ruthless, and a cunning opportunist. As a gangster linked to the gang ran by the Rutherglen brothers, James and Barry Gillespie, James White was considered untouchable. So much so that after the brothers disappeared in South America in 2019, James adopted the name The Don and began to distribute Class A gear like coke and also GUNs. He was transporting it internationally. He took over the day-to-day running of a £100 million plus operation. Now, despite James being from Glasgow, he was a man of international means, fleeing to Brazil in order to hide from the drug charges as part of Operation Escalade. Now, James White famously told pals that he made enough money that he could buy Rolex, the company. Operation Escalade began in 2014. Part of the scope was to tap phones, implement plainclothes officers, and covert intelligence gathering to snare criminals like James White and Gerald McTaggart, and 42 other known criminals in the act, and then extradite them back to the UK if they were abroad. James White had forged sophisticated links with notorious criminals, creating a network that spanned continents. James White had splintered groups in the UK, Russia, Netherlands, United Arab Emirates, and of course Brazil. He spoke multiple languages also, like Russian and Spanish fluently, and it was used to facilitate the drugs and GUN deals. The gang had planned routes to transport coke that made James tens of £1 million at a time. Now, James was behind a £10 million coke seizure after a HGV lorry was stopped by Border Force in 2017. The lorry had arrived from Alicante and was bound to a fake company that was set up by a gang based in Rochdale. Now, when police analysed the drugs, they found the coke had a purity running in a high 80%. It was also reported that James had actually packaged the gear and was afraid that his DNA was all over the product and the container. Now, James quickly began to become one of UK's most wanted criminals, and police thought that they had finally caught him when he used a fake passport in Italy in 2020. Despite being abroad, James also kept tabs on cars and safe houses that were hiding glocks and submachines and silencers and the dirty money. But sillily, police let James go, and that's when James took the opportunity to flee to Brazil. Police spent millions of pounds implementing a large-scale manhunt that ran into thousands of hours, and it proved successful because James the Don White was eventually found by armed police in a Brazilian boat hole months after going by the name Vince McCall. James was extradited back to the UK, where he pled guilty to a number of charges, including directing serious and organised crime from May 2013 all the way to March 2020, and he was jailed for 9 years and 10 months. Also, the police were coming after his £126 million fortune. Stay safe, safe.